Welcome in. So we have some strong thunderstorms on the radar this afternoon. I am Nicholas Herboso, keeping you updated here on Fox 10 live streaming here on our Fox 10 Gulf stream. We have a few active warnings on the radar, so we'll get to that in a second. We're just setting this thing up now. So yes, some strong thunderstorms around the area right now. We have a couple severe thunderstorm warnings as well. So welcome in. I'm Nicholas Herboso in our digital room. We're going to start tracking these thunderstorms, just keeping you updated on what's going on. We have a level 2 out of 5 severe weather risk today, and we expected thunderstorms to happen, and what do you know, they have started to develop. So let's get right to the radar here, see what's going on. I'm going to make sure everything is going well as well with the live stream here. So we have a couple warnings on the radar right now. Let's get to what's going on there. One severe thunderstorm warning, including Mobile, Baldwin, and Washington counties. This thing goes until 3:45 p.m. And then another warning until 3:45 for just Baldwin County. A couple strong thunderstorms there. Now, these thunderstorms are going to continue drifting kind of off to the south and southeast. That's going to be kind of the main story for today. Some of these storms could be producing hail. Some of these storms could be producing strong, gusty winds. That's kind of the story for today. So, we also have prolific lightning, heavy rain with these thunderstorms, and that's this thing that we're kind of expecting with typical summertime storms out there. So, starting us off here, strong thunderstorm right now in Washington County that's moving into Mobile and Baldwin counties. We can see it here on the radar there, high reflectivity, those reds indicating heavy rain, possibly even some hail out there. And let's see what we have. We're going to turn on our hail tracker and see what we have on there. Let me find that, and we're going to do the instant hail tracker here. So as you can see, we do have a little bit showing up on there, and the size that it is indicating is about an inch, which is severe warn criteria. So we have a certain criteria for a severe thunderstorm, and one of those is an inch in diameter or greater hail. Well, this thing has pretty much an inch in diameter hail. It's going to continue moving off to the south and east. So Mount Vernon is right here. This is Highway 43 here. So keep that in mind if you are in this area, especially just north of Mount Vernon on Highway 43, because I know there are a couple things there. That is the area where we could see some hail. Also just very heavy rain and gusty winds with this one. Now, what about elsewhere in the area? Because we do have other storms around. Switching back to the radar real quick. We have other storms in the area, including another thunderstorm that's in Baldwin County. Here's a look at just kind of the Mobile Bay area, Mobile and Baldwin counties. We have one strong thunderstorm producing tons of lightning right now just north of Daphne. Zooming in on this storm, we have the severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 3:45 p.m. If you are in Spanish Fort Malbus right now, you're probably dealing with a lot of heavy rain because this thing is producing just lots of rain. In fact, some of the rainfall rates have been around 2 to 3 inches, and we were expecting that, rainfall rates of 2 to 3 inches. So likely some ponding going on the roadways there. It is probably very difficult driving on I-10 in between 181, 98, and even 59 and 98 there in Baldwin County. So here looking at near the Malbus area, kind of Spanish Fort, that's the shopping center, the Eastern Shore Shopping Center there. Also the Jubilee Center there, Lake Forest dealing with heavy rain right now. There is the possibility of some hail with this thing. And turning on hail tracker once again, we can see that, yes, that is indicating that there is a little bit of hail there. In fact, let's query this and see what those hail values might be. It looks like these could be larger stones, 1.3 inches, so that's just a little above golf ball size hail, 1 inch there hail likely occurring along 181 there. That's just south of 181 and the I-10 interchange there. So something to keep in mind. These very impactful storms producing lots of lightning are in the area. So you probably just want to make sure you're staying inside. If you can get your car inside, if you are in Loxley right now, if you're in Loxley and you have your car parked outside, if you can get it parked into a covered area, that would be a great thing to do, just because there is the possibility of some hail with these thunderstorms. Zooming in, getting a couple more locations here. So this is 181 just south of the shopping centers there. That's Malbus, the kind of big black thing you see with all the roads. That's the Eastern Shore Shopping Center right there. And then all those little kind of shops and the gas stations there just south along 98, or not 98, 90 there in Malbus along 90 and 181. So that's kind of where this is occurring, and it's going to continue moving off to the southeast. So generally moving in this direction. Thankfully, there's a lot less population, or a little less population in this area right now. But definitely one other thing that we're worried about with this storm, or we're thinking about at least with this storm, is just how much lightning there is with it. I know y'all are saying, looking at some of the comments, that there is a good bit of lightning out there right now. And if you are in the Malbus area in Spanish Fort, you are dealing with that lightning for sure. So here's a look at that thunderstorm. Once again, drifting off to the southeast right now. If you are in Loxley, you will be expecting this storm to get kind of your way. Here's 90 right here, and then there's 31. This is 181 right here. So this is kind of where the area of impact is with this thunderstorm. If you're hearing a lot of thunder right now, you're probably close enough, and you're in Baldwin County, you're probably close enough to this storm to feel the impacts of it. Also, just notice in the past frame or so how it kind of has a little bit still of an eastward component. So travel right now, very difficult in between pretty much where you get onto the Bayway all the way through pretty much where you get to 59 there at the Baldwin Beach Express. This is where the Buc-ee's is. Travel very difficult at that point. If you can wait it out a little bit, if you are traveling from, say, Florida, getting yourself over to Mobile, or the far eastern side of Baldwin County, getting over to Mobile, it does look like that's going to take you a minute. So you can chill out at one of the gas stations there, probably Buc-ee's or something, and just wait this thing out, because these things will eventually rain themselves out, and that's kind of the story here. Going back to radar, let's zoom out and reset, see what else we have on the radar right now. So we have another severe thunderstorm warning for northern Baldwin County. There were some very impactful storms in the Florida Panhandle earlier, but those have since weakened a good bit. There were some really impressive pictures out of some of the beach areas there of some shelf clouds. So not wall clouds, but shelf clouds. It kind of looks like a shelf. It's a big old blue looking shelf that kind of pushes out of the thunderstorms associated with a thunderstorm outflow. And under those scary looking clouds, you can sometimes get a little bit of gusty wind. So I know people in Destin, Fort Walton Beach got a bit of surprise with those thunderstorms around. Now, a lot of us are talking about lightning, talking about just heavy rain. That is what we were expecting with these storms today. So we have some rain right now occurring in Mobile. This is all below severe limits, but there's plenty of lightning associated with it. Some areas kind of just north of the university there, kind of near Sims, and then also Saraland High School, Saraland, Satsuma, dealing with a little bit of heavier rain. Pritchard as well, dealing with heavier rain right now, 165 to 65 there. And then also just north of Old Shell Road there, Old Shell Road and Spring Hill, another little heavy downpour there. That's just kind of to the north and east of the USA campus. Remember, all of these are below severe limits, which is always a good thing. However, it is not out of the question that they could be producing just a little bit of some hail. Now, switching back over to our storm in Baldwin County, look at that pink. So we do have a little bit of pink on the radar right now, and you can see it right here. In fact, I'm going to circle. I forgot. I have this cute little thing that I can circle things now. So right here, we have this little area of pink, and that's going to be an area that we're watching for the possibility of some hail. And in fact, if I turn on the hail tracker, you will notice that that is probably where the hail is located. And let's see what we have here. And there it is. And likely up to around an inch, which is that little pink, or not pink, that little teal color there. So right along I-10. So driving on I-10 really difficult right now, just because we have hail most likely occurring between 90 and I-10 there in Baldwin County, just kind of north of, or just kind of to the east of Spanish Fort there. Also to the north and west of Loxley. Once again, if you're in Loxley, you might want to get indoors, or be prepared to get indoors, because we will be dealing with a pretty hefty thunderstorm. Also plenty of lightning, of course, occurring with this thing, and that's just kind of the typical thing that we see with these summertime thunderstorms here. So let's check out the radar once again, see what we have going on. Let me know what y'all are seeing. I have the comments pulled up on my phone here on the side so I can see who's watching out here. So let me know what y'all are seeing. Of course, probably some scary looking clouds. That's always been the thing, especially with these kind of summertime thunderstorms. You typically see the scary looking clouds. So just something to keep in mind there. But here's a look at the live radar. And as we can see, very potent thunderstorm right now going on in Spanish Fort. Resetting a little bit now. Let's pull this thing out. We do have a thunderstorm with a severe thunderstorm warning on it that's in the far northwestern corner of Mobile County, also kind of far northeastern corner of Mobile County, and then far western northern Baldwin County. So zooming into this storm, this is another one, could be producing a little bit of hail, probably some gusty winds with it as well. I'm going to use a couple different products that might be a little bit unconventional to use. This is our debris tracker, but another thing that it can tell me is actually where hail is, because all this product is doing is anywhere you see red, it is just raindrops that are similar to each other. And anywhere where we don't have the reds, like say the greens or the pinks, or the oranges there, or the greens or the blues or the deep blues there, that's where it may not be rain, and we can possibly see where there might be some hail. So it looks like it's mostly rain on this one, but severe thunderstorm warning still in effect for this area, and this thing goes until 3:45 p.m. Possibly some gusty winds as well with this thing, but not expecting too much, just a very heavy summertime downpour with the possibility of some large hail. I'm going to make sure I'm on the right tool here. Zooming back out, going to the south. Now, got a comment here about possibly some hail near Daphne High School, which makes perfect sense because Daphne High School is just right here. As you can see, it actually shows up on the map. So Bell Forest, just to the south of where the thunderstorm is now, kind of the center of Bell Forest. That road, I always forget which road it is. County Road 64. I always forget which one County Road 64 is. I do not know why, and I live in that area. That's been the funniest thing. I've always forgotten that my entire life. So yeah, 64 north in Baldwin County, you're dealing with that thunderstorm. Daphne High School as well, Champions Way, getting yourself up 181. Also along 90, a couple of the communities there dealing with some very heavy rain, possibly some hail, prolific lightning with this thing. Loxley, you're now dealing with the heavy rain as well. Now, some of y'all might be asking, what about everywhere else? Well, we have more and more thunderstorms developing across the map right now. The calm places, let me clear this annotation. The calm places right now are southern Baldwin County, Escambia County, Alabama also doing well. Conecuh County seems to be doing well right now in Alabama. Now, if you're in our Mississippi counties, we actually have what we're calling a boundary collision. We have all these outflow boundaries coming out from these thunderstorms, so it's very possible that in George County here near Lucedale, we could be dealing with some thunderstorms developing in the next few minutes, so keep that in mind. Going back to the radar now, you can kind of see a little bit clearer where the clear areas are. So if you're down at the beaches right now, you are not dealing with anything except for some clouds and light rain. Same thing in southern Mobile County. We'll be watching here near Lucedale and kind of in western Mobile County, Wilmer, near Big Creek Lake to see if any more thunderstorms develop. Going to the south here, near Big Point here in Jackson County, we do have another thunderstorm there. Grand Bay, Bayou La Batre, you're doing fine right now. No rain, at least for the next little while. We'll be watching closely, see if any of these thunderstorms' outflow boundaries can fire a thunderstorm in your area. It's just kind of a hit or miss thing. What about southern Baldwin County? Foley, Magnolia Springs, all the way down to Gulf Shores. You're dealing with nothing right now. That storm that is severe warned, you might have gotten the severe thunderstorm warning on your phone. That thing is just to your north, so if you are heading north up 59, you might run into it if you hit I-10. But otherwise, Foley doing fine right now. And same thing in Alberta and southern Baldwin County at the beaches. Looks like most of the rain holding off there. We'll be watching very closely, though. These thunderstorms can form extraordinarily quickly. In fact, it was a very impressive thing for us to see today, just how quickly everything formed right around 2 o'clock. The whole entire radar lit up like a Christmas tree, and then, of course, we started to get the severe thunderstorm warnings. So, as always, typical summertime stuff here on the Gulf Coast whenever we have a low and severe risk. So that's the kind of situation right now. And if you're in the Florida Panhandle dealing with some light rain, of course, you know, we had some of the heavier rain earlier, but that has since dissipated. We're going to watch very closely in our Mississippi counties, see if we get another boundary collision that's happening there. Checking in with y'all, Foley, you're doing fine right now, just cloudy skies for sure. And then a lot of us just talking about the lightning, which is, of course, a typical thing. And I'm curious, I'm going to check what our lightning count is over the past few minutes. So let me try that. Go pull this like this. And that should give me, so number of strikes, 886 in the past few minutes. That is an incredible amount of strikes, a lot of them being cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. So they're loud. There's a lot of thunder associated with it. So some very loud storms for sure out there. Zooming once again into the Baldwin County storm. This is probably the strongest storm on the map right now, likely producing some hail. And checking it on the debris tracker, what we're looking for here, once again, is not necessarily debris, but the possibility of some hail. And I mentioned, whenever you don't see the red on the hail tracker or on the debris tracker, that's where we could possibly be seeing some hail. This is a little bit more intense radar analysis than we would typically do, but this happens to work really well. So this is our debris tracker. We're not tracking debris from a tornado. We're tracking the possibility of some hail, as you can see kind of indicated by the green colors here, right over, this is the intersection between 90 and I-10 there, so some of the gas stations there. Possibility of some small hail there. And to simplify it, of course, we use the actual hail tracker product. And pulling that up, let me make sure I get the right one. As you can see, that is where we have the hail and likely some 1 inch, maybe even larger hail around County Road 68 and 90 going up to where I-10 is. Same thing, 59 intersection with Interstate 10 there. So all those intersections there just north of Loxley. That's where we're dealing with the chance for some hail in this severe warned storms. So continuing to check out what's going on right now. I have to reset this back to my radar. There it is. Okay, taking a wider view real quick, kind of at the bigger picture. So what's kind of causing all of this? We do have a stalled frontal boundary that is just off to our north, and I'm going to annotate it in here. So we have this frontal boundary that's kind of just sitting right off to our north, and that's kind of what's helping fire a lot of these storms. Taking you to the map here. So we have this frontal boundary here, and then the storms just kind of firing south from the boundary, sending themselves south, and that's why we've had that movement here of those storms. So something to keep in mind, we're going to be watching this boundary progress south through the evening, and by the time we get to next week, we're going to be dealing with a more typical summertime pattern because the boundary is going to usher in some slightly drier air. So like your next week rain chances, instead of being like 70% like they are today, you're only dealing with around 20%. All right, some small hail being reported in Sims. Let's get back to the high resolution radar, see what's going on there. So zooming in, once again, we do have a couple severe thunderstorm warnings. Also, now these thunderstorms that are in Mobile County, like near Sims, have gotten a little bit stronger. So Magnolia Grove, Chunchula, Wilmer also dealing with some heavy rain. Remember, this is below severe limits at this very second. However, these storms could get stronger. Also some small hail, which is making sense. This is the severe thunderstorm warned storm. Some small hail in Malbus. In fact, I just got a picture of some very small hail. It looks to be about dime size hail, and it looks like this is in the Malbus area, so I'm assuming kind of, your Lake Forest, some of those other communities along 181. What is the name of that? Rosewood Road, trying to remember, Robbins Boulevard. I'm trying to remember the name of that neighborhood. But kind of near Champions Way, if you're from I-181 getting yourself over to Daphne High School, that's kind of the area that we're seeing some of these hail reports right now, which makes complete sense. This is this very strong thunderstorm. Right now, if you're in Loxley, you're the place dealing with the hail, and it's just going to continue going. So hail possible along 59 there and 90. Also along County Road 64 there in Baldwin County. If you're north of I-10 in Baldwin County, it looks like more light to moderate rain. So like Stapleton, if you're near the high school in Spanish Fort, you're now transitioning to a little bit more just light to moderate rain. So keep that in mind that you will have the rain for the next little while if you're trying to get out and do something. Real quickly, I'm going to check the winds on this thing. Thankfully, the winds haven't been too gusty with these thunderstorms. I'm sure they have been a little bit, but we're not seeing those super bright colors on the map. And I'm kind of switching between a couple different versions of the winds product, the wind velocity product that we regularly use here. And it looks like so far we're doing well. That's always a good thing to see. Now, we do have all of these little outflow boundaries. You might see it here. And I'll outline what it is, and I'll put this into motion. It might make it a little bit easier to see what we're talking about. We have these little boundaries that are kind of flying across the area right now. Let me loop this. And we have one that is located right here, just progressing south. This little green line that's pushing south. Probably some scary looking clouds along this thing, because that's kind of typically what happens whenever you have an outflow boundary. This thing is going to continue to move to the south, and watch what happens as this thing gets closer and closer to certain areas. It actually fires brand new storms. It gives the atmosphere a little bit of a lift, a little bit of an oomph that allows the storms to form, and that's exactly what's happening. In fact, we had a little boundary collision near Big Creek Lake here. You can see the green line moving into Mobile County, the green line moving south, and then boom, another thunderstorm formed there, which is something that we expected. Of course, these are easy to track, and you can kind of see, okay, if this thing's coming at me, there is the possibility that another storm might form. And we're watching this very closely. This outflow boundary is now making its way further south. One great thing, this is introducing rain-cooled air. And this is cooling us off quite a bit because it was very hot today. We did have that heat advisory, but now we're dealing with, of course, the thunderstorms around a very volatile atmosphere, very unstable atmosphere because of just the sheer amount of heat. Once again, prolific lightning continuing to go on right now. Taking a look right back at the radar, you can see those lines a little clearer there. In fact, I can draw them out here. So this is one of the outflow boundaries that we're watching. Right there. Then there's another one that kind of raced out of Mississippi there. And it looks like now even this little bit itty-bitty storm in Grand Bay is starting to get its own little outflow boundary. It's outflow boundary city here, and that's kind of what we deal with on a typical summer day whenever we have these very pulse-like thunderstorms that pop up. They last for a little while, they can become very strong, and then they begin to die out. So just kind of a summary of what else we have going on right now. We do have that severe thunderstorm watch until 7 p.m. today for pretty much the entire southern half of our area. And we have a level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather continuing into this evening. So much like what we've seen today, the possibility of some small hail out there. Otherwise, like I said, you're just dealing with the heat. So it's in between the heat and the storms right now. Level 2 risk of severe weather, though, that's level 2 out of 5. Still a very much low-end risk, and more of the same is expected into the evening hours where we will be dealing with just scattered thunderstorms, some of them becoming a little bit stronger. Ann Morgan reporting no power in Bell Forest and Daphne. That's actually that makes complete sense. And that's always a possibility on days like today where we have those kinds of thunderstorms. So let's check in on how it's doing there. And I had the loop on. I'm going to loop it again over Daphne, and we can see kind of what impacted the area. Now, this could be lightning strike related as well. We always typically have power outages with these kind of summertime thunderstorms, especially when they're prolific in the lightning department. So as you can see, over the last 3 hours, we had this thunderstorm that developed kind of over the rivers there just north of Mobile Bay, kind of near Spanish Fort, Blakely Park. That thing moved off to the south and east, became severe warned for the possibility of some hail, and then moved pretty much through Daphne, Bell Forest, along Highway 64 there. And zooming in, I'm going to slow the loop down just a bit so we can see Anywhere you're seeing the pinks that show up on the radar, you can see it in the last few frames there. That's kind of the area we're looking at for the possibility of hail. Of course, hail could also be seen in some of the red areas. This is a 3-hour loop, so over the last 3 hours, went from being dry and very hot. Then we introduced a little bit of rain-cooled air, and then the rain came down, probably a little bit of gusty winds, and then the possibility of some hail as well, which we have seen reports of. Getting the question of, is there any tornado warnings about? Oh, no, there are not. And which is the thankful thing, there is no tornado threat for today, which is always a good thing. Typically on your summer days, you don't deal with as much of a tornado threat. There's always the possibility, especially when the storms get over water, of some water spouts or something. But right now, this is just a severe threat in terms of winds and hail. And it turns out hail has been kind of the more prolific thing for today, the more interesting thing for today, because a lot of us have seen it. Also, it's interesting to look on this 3-hour loop. Just look over Daphne and Spanish Fort there. As that thunderstorm developed, you can see how much lightning was produced by that thunderstorm. That's the typical thing, a lot of instability in the atmosphere. Therefore, the thunderstorms do tend to produce a good bit of lightning. So here's the kind of broader picture once again. If you are in the northern half of our area, north of Highway 84 right now, not much you're dealing with. We have one thunderstorm there in Monroe County, otherwise relatively calm. Here is the current radar picture. Pretty much all along the rivers here going north of Mobile Bay, a lot of rain there, nothing super heavy. We have dropped the severe thunderstorm warning for northern Baldwin County. So we did have that severe thunderstorm warning for northern Baldwin County earlier. That has dropped. That storm is weakened below severe limits. And then pushing it south to along I-10. This is where we currently have severe thunderstorm warning. And in fact, we're seeing some higher reflectivity now kind of in Daphne, Montrose area. I know this is a higher populated area, so if you're watching from there, be ready for some heavy rain. There is the possibility of some hail. The hail will likely be small, but always the possibility of some hail with these summertime thunderstorms. This is on the kind of left side of your screen, 98, then the middle, County Road 13, then 181 there, County Road 64, intersecting it all there. So all those communities there, lots of neighborhoods possibly dealing with the threat of hail. Checking out the hail tracker real quick. Let's see what we have. And yes, it is indicating the possibility of hail getting close to that 1-inch mark. That 1 inch shows up on that kind of teal blue color, the seafoam green, teal blue color, the brighter blue color, baby blue. I don't know. A couple ways to call that color. I don't know. But either way, still some hail possible. In the purple, you're seeing the possibility of some lighter or smaller hail, I should say, right around pea size. Also, plenty of lightning going on right now across the area, and still seeing, even I'm getting the lightning alerts on my phone from the plenty of weather apps that I have on my phone. Always important to make sure you have weather apps that are reliable. So as always, make sure that you have our Fox 10 weather app. One great thing that we are able to do is push live notifications. So of course we'll go live on social media in the cases where we need to, like this, where there's just a lot of active weather. But if there's an isolated thunderstorm or there's an event going on, what we can do from the station, or even from home if I really wanted to, is send out a notification to y'all saying, hey, there is a strong thunderstorm in your area. Or hey, the heat index just reached 113 degrees, which actually was a few times today, or today and yesterday, because of the heat that we've been dealing with. It's a great way to get warnings, great way to get information. Stay with us. We're always updating the app, trying to keep the content on there useful. Usually it's 2-minute videos. If you go to the kind of homepage of the app, look on the top side of your screen, you'll see these 1-minute videos to 2-minute videos, very short. Just gives you some information on what's going on, and it'll give you also the timestamp that those videos were made so you can kind of get the latest information. Great way to be updated. And I've wanted to mention this for a while now, actually. There is a way that you can change the sound settings, because I do know that it does announce the alerts. So if you want to change that, you can actually go into the settings there of the Fox 10 weather app. If you go in there, go into the top 3 lines there in the corner, settings, notification sounds, you can change certain notification sounds off. So if you want, say, might get repeat lightning alerts, and if you want to just check that on your phone, you can turn that sound off. You can also change that sound. The default sound is the Jason Smith. Oh, let me turn it up. It's the Jason Smith.
Lightning has been detected in your area.
So that's the default sound for that, but there are a couple other sounds that you can use, or you can just turn it off to no sound. So that's a useful setting there, because I know we've gotten some comments about that. A useful setting there in the Fox 10 weather app if you want. I would always recommend keeping the alert, like as in National Weather Service alert, sounds on, because that's the whole point of the app. You want to be able to get something like a severe thunderstorm warning whenever it's issued on your phone. It's one thing that we work really hard to do, improving just the awareness of severe weather. Not always is weather super impactful, but a lot of times it's just a bit of a nuisance. And even on days like today, yes, we have impactful thunderstorms causing power outages and hail, but sometimes just the heavy downpours can be a lot, and you can even get notifications for that on the Fox 10 weather app. We also encourage you to engage with us on social media. It's a very important thing. We work very hard to keep our social media updated and going, just to make sure that we're giving you the best information. And of course, we are live right now on the Fox 10 Facebook page, but we all have our own Facebook pages. You can look us up all by the names: Jason Smith, Michael White, Matt Barentine, Jennifer Lambers, and myself. You can search Nicholas Herboso. Also, I use my initials for my social media, so it's K and my initials NBH and then weather, WX. So at KNBH. WX is my social media handle. Give me a follow, especially on the weekends, since I'm normally here on the weekends, giving you all the updates I can, and that's the kind of typical thing. All right, so now, looks like we just got an update. Here's the hail tracker. Notice no polygon anymore. So the severe thunderstorm warning, it looks like, has been allowed to expire, as it is now 3:45 p.m. We're going to get to a wider picture here. Let's go back to the radar. Getting to a wider picture here, and we'll kind of reset this and then close this thing out, as I do not believe we have any active warnings right now. Let's double check the map. Some very heavy rain going on right now in Mobile. Let's talk about that for just a second. Jackson, George counties in Mississippi, Mobile County near Big Creek Lake, kind of in West Mobile. Some very, very heavy rain there near Sims. Possibly some small hail. This is just north of the airport. In fact, that little circle kind of you see there around Mobile Airport, that's actually where the radar site is. So you see this kind of circle where there's nothing. That's where the radar site is. Of course, whenever it really can't measure anything really, really close to it. So it kind of has to, the beam has to shoot out a little bit before it can start measuring stuff accurately. So that's kind of why the picture looks a little bit noisy. But once it starts measuring stuff, oh my goodness, there's a lot of rain currently going on right now. Snow Road, just south of 98 there in Mobile County. So very heavy rain. No, this is not a severe thunderstorm, but it is a very impactful thunderstorm. Also, same thing just north here, Howells Ferry Road north. Magnolia Grove, just kind of north of Spring Hill Avenue there, north of Ziegler, north of the, or kind of heavy rain right now on the campus of University of South Alabama. Same thing near Country Club and Spring Hill, heavy rain there. Also on Old Shell Road, getting yourself into Midtown Murphy High School there. Shops at Bel Air, just to the north of that, dealing with rain. So Government Boulevard, Old Shell. And then Spring Hill, all dealing with heavy rain right now. Even some heavier rain right now in downtown Mobile. So, of course, probably getting a lot of attention there. And taking a wider picture once again, making sure that there's nothing impactful that might happen in the next few minutes. It looks like the Mobile storm is probably the most potent thing right now, the strongest storm on the map. Still very heavy rain now, kind of drifting south. What to expect over the next little while? If you're in Robertsdale, if you are in Fairhope, kind of north Fairhope there, and into Fairhope, north of Fish River there, along Fish River, Summerdale, you might be dealing with this storm within the next hour or so. Could produce heavy rain and frequent lightning, but it does look like the storm is on the downtrend. If you are in Mobile, it's going to rain. There's going to be a lot of lightning. There's a possibility of some small hail. And there's the possibility of some gusty winds. But right now, just dealing with everything below severe limits, so not producing 1 inch of diameter hail. And it looks like they're just pulling a special weather statement now for Mobile. So not severe, but impactful and causing disruptions to your day. If you're in the northern half of our area, north of Highway 84, just north of Monroeville here in Monroe County, dealing with a storm producing a lot of lightning near Beatrice, just to the south and west, River Ridge, Scotland there. Heavy rain with this one, the possibility of some small hail just north of Scratch Ankle. There you go. That's what I wanted to say. Otherwise, light rain throughout the map. And that's it. One last thing, and I'm going to have to do, if the graphics get a little funky, bear with me for a second. I'm actually going to switch us to Futurecast just so we can see what's going on. This will be a first look for me as well as to what Futurecast was showing. Let's get this pulled up together here. Here we are. Let's take a look at what Futurecast has to offer for this evening. So here we are with Futurecast. Let's get to it. This is the high-resolution rapid refresh model. So it's a very high-resolution model. It's done a pretty good job so far today with detecting all these thunderstorms. As you can see, as we get through the evening hours, it hangs on to some of the thunderstorms, but generally weakens them. So the possibility of some light rain overnight tonight, we're keeping those rain chances slightly elevated overnight tonight. And then overnight, looks like stuff begins to clear, 5 a.m., maybe a couple scattered showers. Just kind of looking at this thing together, this is my first time seeing this particular model run. This model updates rather frequently. So as we get into 10 a.m., scattered showers and thunderstorms around for your Sunday. The severe risk is much lower, in fact, almost non-existent for your Sunday, so that's always a good thing. Just expecting heavy downpours for your Sunday. As we go into the afternoon hours there, you see a similar picture with a scattering of showers and thunderstorms. Those fade into the evening hours. And then looking ahead to more the 7-day picture. Let's pull up that 7-day outlook for you. What are we expecting? Well, a more typical summertime pattern for sure. Here, we notice the rain chances going down a little bit to around 20% next week. More typical summertime stuff. Sea breeze thunderstorms is the likely thing. Temperatures still staying warm, though, but not heat advisory criteria. We're talking 93, 94, some areas in the low 90s. Low 90s there. Okay, so this is interesting. Tree down in the road and power line also on 66 in Loxley, and it looks like we're going to go back to radar before we wrap this thing up here, because I want to see what could have caused that. Thank you for that report. So let's go to the live radar real quick. See, so this is 66 in Loxley. I'm going to zoom into this here. 64, 68. Yeah. I mean, over the past few minutes, I'm going to rock this back ever so slightly here. There was the possibility of course, gusty winds with this thing. A lot of times what happens is it comes almost like a downburst where we just get a moment of very, very gusty winds there. One moment. Yeah, so it does look like we did have the possibility of some gusty winds near Loxley. And I'm trying to get the exact location. That looks like we would be, just trying to get a better location of where this could have possibly occurred. And I'm also going to go back into the velocity. And anywhere you see the brighter green colors as I rock this back, yeah, look at that. There's a couple areas that got some brighter reds. Yes, look at this. This was at 326, and you can see an area right here of likely some heavier, stronger winds right along 66 here and 64 as well. So yeah, then that is a possibility. Of course, this was severe thunderstorm warned, so the possibility of gusty winds is always there. And going back and querying how much 38 to 40 miles per hour. It's possible that that could have been even higher. In fact, if I switch products here and look through, yeah, it looks like we just had some gusty winds there. And of course, keep those reports coming. Let us know what you are seeing. We will, of course, keep that in mind. Of course, we're leading up to our evening newscast as well after baseball here on Fox 10 News. So we will be covering all the storms that happen today along with all the other news. For now, we're going to wrap this thing up. Thank you so much for watching. Always good to be able to go live and give you the latest information on what's going on. Like I said, have that Fox 10 weather app into the afternoon. Make sure you're following us on social media. I am at KNBHWX on all social media platforms. Give me a follow there. Be posting throughout the evening, giving you the latest updates. But for now, thank you for watching us here on the live stream here on Fox 10.